Emily Parker sat quietly at the airport gate, her fingers clutched tightly around the strap of her worn-out handbag. She was utterly exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally. Juggling two jobs, one as a waitress and the other as a store clerk, left her running on fumes. But she had no choice. Her 5-year-old daughter, Lily, was counting on her. This flight to New York? It was her shot. A job interview at a prestigious company that could completely change their lives. She double-checked her ticket. Seat 7B. A window seat. Maybe she'd finally get some rest. The boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Emily took a deep breath and moved toward the gate. She had saved for months just to afford this trip, and now that she was here, anxiety crept in. As she reached her row, she saw someone already in 7A. A tall, well-dressed man with an air of quiet confidence. His navy blue suit was perfectly tailored, and the watch on his wrist looked expensive. Emily paused for a moment, then slid into her seat. The man offered a polite nod before turning back to his phone. She murmured a soft hello, buckled her seatbelt, and leaned back. The exhaustion hit her like a wave. She hadn't slept in days. Her body finally gave in. Before she realized it, her head tilted, and gently came to rest on the stranger's shoulder. Alexander Carter stiffened, surprised. He was used to being recognized. Most people either wanted a favor or an introduction into his world. But this woman? She didn't seem to know who he was. That was rare. He looked down. Her breathing was soft and steady. Her face, though peaceful, looked deeply tired. Dark circles under her eyes, hands trembling slightly from sheer fatigue. She was clearly struggling, yet for some reason, he didn't move her away. The flight attendant passed, offering a small smile at the scene. Alexander sighed quietly, deciding to let her rest. Minutes passed, then an hour. Alexander barely shifted, not wanting to disturb her. Somehow it felt comforting, even if he didn't fully understand why. Suddenly, turbulence rocked the plane. Emily stirred. Her eyes fluttered open and widened in horror. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." She jerked upright, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Alexander chuckled softly. "It's fine, really. You needed the sleep." She hesitated, unsure how to respond. Most people would have been annoyed. She managed a faint smile. "Thank you. I guess I was more tired than I thought." "Long day?" he asked, setting his phone down. "Long year," she muttered, not realizing she'd said it aloud. His eyebrow rose. "That bad?" Emily sighed. She normally didn't open up to strangers, but something about him made her feel safe. Maybe it was his calm presence, or maybe she was just too tired to hold it all in. "I'm a single mom. 2 jobs, just trying to make ends meet." She paused. "I have an interview in New York. If I get the job, maybe my daughter and I can finally have a real shot at something better." Alexander listened, intrigued. She wasn't trying to impress him, wasn't looking for anything. She was just real. "What's the job?" "Marketing assistant at Carter Enterprises," she said, brushing a stray hair from her face. "It's my dream job, but I probably don't stand a chance. People like me don't get those kinds of opportunities." Alexander's face didn't change, but inside he was surprised. Carter Enterprises, his company. "What makes you think that?" She sighed. "I don't have a fancy degree. I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I've just been surviving. They'll probably pick someone with better connections." Alexander leaned back, studying her. "You sound like you've already given up." She gave a bitter chuckle. "I've learned not to get my hopes up." His jaw tightened. He had worked hard to build Carter Enterprises, but had he let it become just another corporate machine? Had they forgotten to value grit and determination over prestige? He looked at her again. Despite her doubt, she was clearly driven. That was Rare. What if I told you that sometimes the right people notice hard work? He asked. Emily scoffed. That only happens in movies. Alexander smirked. You'd be surprised. The pilot announced their descent. Emily took a deep breath. She had no idea what New York would bring, but for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel completely alone. As the plane touched down, Alexander grabbed his briefcase. Good luck, Emily. She blinked. I never told you my name. He winked. You talk in your sleep. Then he stepped into the aisle, leaving her stunned. Something about him was different. She just didn't know how much her life was about to change. Emily stepped off the plane, still replaying their conversation in her mind. His confidence, his presence. There was something familiar about him. But there was no time to dwell. Her interview was in 3 hours. She rushed to the hotel, quickly freshened up, and changed into the only professional outfit she owned, a simple black blazer and skirt. It wasn't designer, but it was clean and presentable. As she entered the towering skyscraper of Carter Enterprises, nerves spiked. This was it. The receptionist directed her to the 30th floor. She stepped into the waiting area, heart pounding. Other candidates were already there, polished, confident, dressed in expensive suits. Some glanced at her, whispered, She doesn't look like she belongs, one woman muttered. Emily clenched her fists, but she refused to let their words shake her. She had come too far. Moments later, her name was called. She walked into the large conference room. 3 interviewers sat at a long table, their faces unreadable. Something felt off. They barely glanced at her. We appreciate your time, Miss Parker, one said flatly, but we've already shortlisted candidates with more experience. Her heart sank. I haven't even had a chance to speak. We prefer Ivy League backgrounds, another interrupted. You don't meet our criteria. It wasn't just rejection, it was dismissal, like she hadn't even been worth the consideration. She held back tears as she left. Was this her fate? Always struggling, always invisible. But as she reached the elevator, a voice called out, Emily! She turned and froze. Standing before her in an expensive suit was the man from the plane. Now she recognized him. Alexander Carter, CEO of Carter Enterprises. Her mind spun. He wasn't just some kind stranger. He owned the company she had just been rejected by. Sir, He raised a hand. Come with me. Too stunned to argue, she followed. He led her into a sleek private office and gestured for her to sit. I assume the interview didn't go well? She swallowed. They barely let me speak, said I wasn't qualified. No Ivy League degree. He nodded slowly, just as he suspected. Then, looking her in the eye, Tell me, Emily, if they had let you speak, what would you have said? She hesitated, then drew a deep breath. I would have told them I may not have a fancy degree, but I have experience. Real experience. I know what customers want because I've been one. I know what hard work is because I've lived it. And I know the best ideas don't always come from boardrooms, but from people who understand real struggle. Alexander's lips curled into a smirk. Now that's what I want to hear. She frowned. I don't understand. He leaned in. I built this company from the ground up, Emily. I earned everything. But somewhere along the way, I let the wrong people take over hiring. People who forgot that talent isn't about a name on a diploma. She held her breath. I want people like you in my company. People who know what it means to fight for something, who have something to prove. He stood. You said people like you don't get opportunities. I'm here to prove you wrong. Her eyes widened. Are you saying? I'm offering you the job, he said simply. If you want it. Tears welled in her eyes. But why? You barely know me. He smiled. I've met 1,000 people with perfect resumes. Not one of them had your passion, your drive. She covered her mouth, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Say yes, he said. And change your life. She wiped her tears and nodded. Yes, 1,000 times. Yes. He extended his hand. She shook it, feeling something she hadn't in years. Hope. As she turned to leave, she paused. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why were you flying in economy? Someone like you? You should have been in first class. He chuckled. Sometimes I like to remind myself what it's like on the other side. To see the world from a different perspective. She smiled. I guess fate wanted us to meet. He nodded. And I think it worked out perfectly. As she walked out of his office, her new life just beginning, she knew one thing for sure. Sometimes, the best opportunities come when you least expect them.